Audio Jungle.
What's up, everybody at home? It's your boy, Sammy Socialite, and I'm bringing you yet another Eating Sports Chat. I have so much to talk to y'all about today, but I'm going to start it off with what I'm eating. I'm eating a down south classic. I gotta put on for that Alabama goodness, Roll Tide, because they beat UGA for the SEC championship. Clap, clap, clap. Good loss for UGA. So for that, I'm gonna have me some chicken salad. I got me some chips, a nice little IPA to drink. And I'm just gonna go ahead and get it started. Since we were on the subject of college football. UGA was the number one team, and everyone just knew they were going to, beat Bama, and Bryce Young and them had something to say. All I've been hearing all week is about how Bama, how UGA needs to figure out what they're going to do at quarterback now, because obviously Stetson Bennett now all of a sudden isn't cutting it. He's been the quarterback all season. So, y'all just got to admit that Nick Saban does not lose the people that worked for under Nick Saban, bro. Like, that shit just don't happen. Nick got the blueprint. He gonna always win. But the college football playoffs has been set. Bama is going to play Cincinnati in the first round, and Michigan is going to play UGA because they lost. So, Michigan plays with a two-quarterback system. So, would Kirby Smart dare try a two-quarterback system in this game? Michigan is not a scrub this year. They've actually had some good wins, and they've made it to the playoffs. So, I think people should be scared of Michigan. We're going to see how that happens, but we got a few weeks to talk about that. In other news, my team, Georgia Tech, Georgia Tech got beat to sleep by UGA. And, after that loss, a lot of our coaches got fired. Not the head coach yet, but usually when all your coaches get fired, you're next. So Jeff Collins has had 3 years to turn the team around, and he really hasn't. The team is almost at the exact same position it was when he first got there. We lost a lot of people this year after the season to the transfer portal. Our best running back, Jahmyr Gibbs, is leaving to go to the transfer portal. The quarterback that started for us most of the season because Jeff Sims was hurt, Jordan Yates, that's where he's going, to the transfer portal. Wanye Thomas and Tyreek Carpenter, the best defensive players, they going to the draft. There's a whole bunch of... It doesn't look good. But Lincoln Riley, after losing to Oklahoma State, he dips out on Oklahoma to go to be the new head coach of USC. And that caused a lot of people at Oklahoma to go in the transfer portal as well. Miami, they fired their head coach, and they have now hired Cristobal from Oregon. Now, that's very interesting. We're going to see how that hiring works. Marcus Freeman, the former defensive coordinator for Notre Dame, gets the call to be the head coach for Notre Dame after their head coach, Brian Kelly, left to go play to be the new head coach at LSU. So, congrats on Marcus Freeman for being a black head coach in a Division I football program. That's something that's very rare. We're struggling with that in the NFL, and they have a rule for it, but the NCAA doesn't have a rule for hiring or interviewing black coaches. So, kudos to him. I wish him the best of luck. Brian Kelly at LSU, that is very crazy because Brian Kelly, depending on how much time LSU gives him, he could really build a very competitive program down there. LSU has always been known to beat Saban. So, if any team is going to beat Saban, it would be a LSU team. So, Brian Kelly, good luck. One day, I'm going to really discuss why don't black head coaches get an opportunity to be head coaches in D1 football. So just put a pin in that. NBA. Again, NBA season in full swing. The Phoenix Suns were on a 18-game winning streak, apparently, until the Warriors stopped them in their tracks. I think it's personally crazy that they won 18 games in a row. They're not even that good, y'all. But shout out to the Warriors. If a new thing had came out that starting in January, if you are an NBA player and you are not fully vaccinated, you will be unable to travel, or if you illegally travel, come back from Canada or any other overseas location. So that means if you're playing in Toronto, you can't get into Canada if you are not fully vaccinated coming from the U.S. So now, while again, the NBA has not made any official rule of making players be vaccinated or unvaccinated, a lot of these cities are making it hard for these unvaccinated players to succeed. So whatever side of the coin you stand on, that is your opinion. But it's about to get real again. Major League Baseball, it's over. Right now, it is officially on pause because it is in a lockout. The Players Union and the owners could not come to terms on a new agreement. So now, no more baseball. So the Braves are the World Series champion forever because baseball is not coming back yet. I'll definitely keep y'all posted on when that comes back. Last but not least, baby, the NFL. NFL is crazy, man. Last week, the Falcons beat the Jaguars. Now, the Jaguars had just beat the Bills, so anything is possible. But yes, Falcons beat them. But then they lost to the Bucks the next week because Tom Brady is Tom Brady. And Falcons defense is Falcons defense. And it is what it is. The Chiefs had a Sunday night football game versus Denver. and they excelled tremendously. Matthew Stafford, the king of winning games versus sorry football teams, decided that he was going to win yet another game against a team without a winning record. They beat Jacksonville by a lot, actually. But yeah, further proving the point that Matthew Stafford can only win games when the team is under 500. Seattle surprises the 49ers. They beat the 49ers. Jimmy Garoppolo is making it real hard for Trey Lance to come back and steal his job right now. So we're going to keep watching that. There's 5 weeks left. That's a very interesting situation to watch. The Baltimore Ravens literally choked the game away because they wanted to be the winners and not the strategizers. They scored a touchdown in the final seconds of the game. The score is 20, and they have 19. Instead of kicking the extra point to tie the game, they decide to go for 2 for the win, and they don't get it. So they lost to the Steelers. Instead of taking it to overtime and at least getting a chance to win, they said, we're just going to go for 2. Did not pay off. Steelers win. Ravens lose. And boy, these Detroit Lions, the Detroit Lions have won a football game, everybody. They are now 1-10-1. Shout out to them. Not shout out to the Vikings who they beat, because what the hell y'all had going on to lose to the Lions. But yeah. Congratulations, Detroit. Y'all won. In fantasy, boom, 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 boom. Everybody out there should be getting ready for your league's playoffs. If the playoffs have not started this week, they should at least start by next week, depending on how many players you have in your league. So if you're fighting to make the playoff, this is your last week to make a difference. Make sure you get those players that you need, because the trade deadlines have passed. You got to get the players you need off the waivers, and it's 4 teams on bye this week, so you're going to have to make that work. Fantasy Star of the Week. It was a very interesting fantasy week. There were some abnormally high scores on these fantasy games, but the 2 people that really stood out were George Kittle of the San Francisco 49ers in their loss. He had multiple touchdowns. Justin Jefferson of the Vikings, who also lost, played amazing. Almost had 200 yards, 2 touchdowns. I can't decide if I want to give us a Kittle or Jefferson. So this week we are going to have 2 fantasy stars of the week. George Kittle and Justin Jefferson. Now, the reason why I did 2 is because it's going to be a lot of fantasy bums this week. And the New England Patriots played on Monday Night Football versus the Buffalo Bills. The wind and snow was crazy. It was a wild game. So, Bill Belichick, the Patriots head coach, decides that he's going to go in the game, and they're going to run the ball every time. They ran 46 run plays and 3 passing plays. in the modern day era of the NFL, that is crazy. So the fantasy bums of the week would be Mac Jones and the Patriots wide receivers, because while they had plenty of good blocks for the run game, blocks don't give us fantasy points. So Patriots, Mac Jones and the Patriots wide receivers, y'all, wah wah wah. But shout out to Damian Harris and Ramondre Stevenson, because they actually were, getting a lot of yards. But once again, this is my Southern meal, because baby, them UJ Bulldogs lost. It's your boy Sammy Socialite, and that's another episode of Eating Sports Chat. Catch me next week, shawty.